It is currently 3:45 on November 6th, 2012. It is Election Day in America.
On Election Day, I was fortunate enough to be on the front lines of the action, serving as an election inspector at a polling location. I was to arrive at my precinct at 5:45 in the morning, ready to go to work. I was told to dress in business casual attire and be ready to work for 15 hours straight if necessary. Suffice it to say, the day would prove interesting. I was trained for 3 hours on 2 separate days, about 2 weeks before the election. And even though the majority of the election now takes place on computers and involves complex machinery, most of my fellow inspectors were over the age of 60. But c'est la vie, right? At the polling station, set up in an elementary school gym, I was assigned to a team of 6 election inspectors. Additionally, there were 2 more precincts in the gym and a precinct coordinator to keep everything organized and running smoothly. This is a sample ballot of what the voters received. As you can tell, it's pretty long, though not as long as the 6-page ballot in Florida, which held up results into the wee hours of the morning. Before we got to work, setting up the polling stations, the coordinator made us take an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and all election laws. Afterward, we began to set up the machines for the voters, which included a special machine to help blind and deaf voters, as well as the all-important tabulator, which counts the vote. We also hung up posters to identify the precinct and reviewed the rules one last time. As you imagine, during the time in which the polls were open, I could offer no political opinions of my own, and additionally, I could offer no help. The voter had to come to me and ask for help. And then we got to work. My first assigned duty was to check in voters, assign them a voter number and a ballot number. After they filled out a special one of these, an application to vote. I received this bad boy about 2 weeks before the election. It's about 30 pages long. So after I checked them in, I handed them a ballot, and off they went to their polling station. If you've ever wondered why there's a barcode on the back of your driver's license, it's for this reason. I had a special scanner in which I would simply scan the card and have all the voter information up on my screen immediately. So after a voter filled out one of these, an application to vote, they would come to me and I would look them up on my special laptop and then assign them a ballot. If they also wanted to spoil a ballot, which would happen if they overvoted on a certain section. For instance, on the Justice of the Supreme Court, you cannot vote for more than 2. Let's say a voter votes for 3. Either they can spoil the entire ballot and restart, or just have that one section not count. This continued for about 7 hours, and then I got a half-hour lunch break. Then I was back to work, doing something even easier. Now, I would simply look up voters who did not know their precinct number and tell them where to go. That continued for another 7 hours, and then I took my dinner break. Finally, the 8 o'clock hour struck, and the polls were officially closed. While my fellow election inspectors were stuck dismantling the polling stations and taking down posters, I was allowed to leave early. A huge relief. In just a few weeks, I will be paid $150, which of course will be taxable. Nevertheless, helping Americans perform their civic duty is its own reward. I forgot to mention 2 important aspects. In addition to the 3 teams of election inspectors, there were also members from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party at the polling location. that were there as poll watchers and, if necessary, challengers. And in addition, there is a large amount of misconception concerning whether or not photo ID is required in order to vote. And in Michigan, that's just not the case. On the back of the application to vote, there is an affidavit that the voter is required to sign if the voter is not in possession of photo ID. By signing, the voter is legally affirming that they are who they say they are.
Please excuse the interruption. This is a reminder that bagel and books